Raising exceptional children isn't rocket science. Phew. In this workshop, we're going to be talking about the parenting side of homeschool. And I want you to know that we all can raise our children up in a way that makes a difference so that when they launch into life, they are prepared for what's out there, but they'll also make an incredible impact in the world around them. So many parents get lost in the way because they focus so much on what they're teaching their kids that they forget or neglect, on the sad side, to focus on the child and the foundations that make all the difference in the world. I want you to keep your eye on the prize, building amazing connections with your kids and helping them fall in love with learning is going to help them so much more than completing a curriculum. In this workshop, I'm going to be covering what I call the 5 pillars of successful homeschooling. These are the pillars that you will stand upon, and at the end of the journey are the core to how you raise exceptional children. So are you ready? 5 pillars. The first pillar is understanding the emotional roller coaster that you are embarking on as a homeschool parent. It's a very real thing. This emotional roller coaster, you would think that it's just for pre-adolescent teenage girls, but no, it's for us homeschool moms especially. This roller coaster ride of having this really great homeschool day followed by this really bad homeschool day, which then causes us to feel like we're failures as educators, we're failing as homeschoolers, we're failing as parents. And I want you to know that that roller coaster ride is absolutely normal. And I guess the baddish news is that you never get off that roller coaster. It's par for the course. It's just part of it. When we were dropping our youngest son off at university last year, I remember standing in his dorm room, panicked. Oh, I was smiling on the outside, but in my head, I was thinking, is he ready? Did I teach him everything he needed to know? Does he have the skills that he needs to survive? What if he doesn't know what to do? And I was panicking. I was absolutely going down one of the scary loops on this emotional roller coaster. And then I overheard him. I love it. He was standing talking to a couple of the kids that were on the team that he was going to be a part of at school. And one of the kids shared that they were going to be taking a public speaking class and they were terrified because they were just going to do terrible. And our son looked at him and said, I rocked public speaking at the community college. I'll totally help you rock it. And then he talked to the other kids in the circle, young men. You're all excellent at something. If we each lean into what we're excellent at and we help each other, we're all going to do just fine. And I felt myself exhale and get off the emotional roller coaster one more time. So I want you to know that it's scary as a homeschooler, bringing up your kids and then releasing them because you know that you are the one that did it. You are the one that either taught them to read and write or didn't. You are the one that made sure that they learned fill in the blank or didn't. And you feel that pressure from society that is, you feel judged, right? It's that people pleaser thing. I just want you to know that you're not alone. And the best thing that you can do is to participate in things like this, the superhero conference, the superhero week, because you need to surround yourself with homeschoolers that are further down the road than you are, that you can glean wisdom and encouragement from, so that when you're freaking out, when you're worried, when you're overwhelmed, when you're confused, when you're lost, you can reach out to someone that has grayer hair than you, even if they color it, grayer hair than you, and get some well-seasoned advice, right? And you'll find yourself just exhaling. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is, dun, 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 routines. Oh, you want to raise exceptional kids? Don't just let them run feral. It seems like a no-brainer. Kids need boundaries. Now, that's going to mean something in your house different than it is in mine, and different than hers, and different than theirs. But you have to have a routine that is dependable, that your kids know that this is bedtime. This is when I get up in the morning. This is the order of events in a normal day. You will know that you have nailed the routine for your children if you are bored out of your brain. Or at least that's how I felt. I remember being at home and in the midst of homeschooling. We have five kids, and there's 12 years between them. And so my older son must have been in 6th grade maybe. And so I had an infant and a couple toddlers, babies. And then I had my older two. And we worked really hard to establish things like nap times and rest times and independent play times. So much so that my day was very predictable. The kids would get up in the morning. We would have breakfast. We would do table time. Then we would do something academic, usually a hands-on thing. Then the littles would go do something like independent time or play in the backyard. And we would cycle through the activities of the day. And I remember just being like, okay, it's breakfast. And then it's table time. And then it's playtime. And then it's snack time. And then it's outside. And then it's lunch. And then it's rest. And it just like, okay, I'm bored. I'd rather like go out and explore. But that's how you know that you have your routine under control, that it's that predictable, that you actually have space in your life to be bored. Because what that does for your kids is it gives them the boundaries to learn how to contain themselves, right? They rein in their self-control. They're able to be busy during busy time and be quiet during quiet time and rest during rest time and eat without throwing food during meal time. Routines are paramount to raising exceptional children. You need to have a routine so that your children know where their boundaries are, and you can help them, that if they are bucking against things, you can teach what I call the do-over. I've taught this, I believe, in Superheroes a couple years ago, where you train it in so that if your children don't do what you expect them to do or what you need them to do, you practice this, but you say the words do-over, and then they back up, and then they come in, and then they do the thing the right way. And that helps everybody kind of redo things with dignity. So you keep your dignity in place. So you've got your emotional roller coaster, your routines. The next pillar is the one mistake that most homeschoolers that I coach have made. And it started with my own self making the same mistake. And that is they're teaching without master homeschool goals. I'm going to ask you a question and see if you automatically know 4 to 6 things that would answer this question. Ready? Drum roll. By the time that your children graduate high school, what do you want them to know? Okay, when my husband asked me that question, I went like this. That's a really good question. I don't know. He goes, let's start there. And most, 97.4% of the homeschoolers that I've ever asked that question respond very similarly. They're like, no, we don't have master homeschool goals. And what happens if you don't have a goal, you don't have a target, you don't have a way to measure your success, then you're going to be prone to being chained to your curriculum, because at least your curriculum has a checkbox that you can check off that you got something done today. The goals are bigger. They're farther away, right? Our master homeschool goals are like this. You can borrow ours as a scaffolding while you think through the answer to your own question. Our homeschool goals have been the same for now, a couple decades. To share our faith with our kids in everything that we do. Not just on Sunday, right? That they would learn their basic math facts inside and out. They'd master arithmetic. add, subtract, multiply, divide, fractions, decimals, percentages, measurements, that kind of stuff. That we would marinate them in literature and that they would fall in love with story so that they still love to read when they graduate high school. So many kids don't even pick up a book again. And then our last goal is that our kids would all be excellent communicators, both in written form and oral form, all by the time they graduate high school. See, once you have your goals in place, it takes the pressure off the daily lesson. There's nothing in your lesson planner that's more important than the character training, than the connecting, than the relationships between you and your children. There's nothing that's more important. So we've got emotional roller coasters, routines, master homeschool goals. The fourth pillar is making sure that to raise exceptional children is to make sure that you focus on character training. And I can tell you, because if I use my own kids as a scientific test bed, a litmus test, if you will, my 5 kids aren't perfect. Shoot, neither am I. So during the different stages of homeschooling, what you're going to do is you're going to observe your children. Don't worry. They're going to show you their worst selves. It's okay. You don't even have to ask them. My children have struggled with different things: laziness, truthfulness, responsibility, diligence, kindness, all of these things through the course of raising them up. And in seasons of homeschool, you'll be able to identify this child really has a problem or a challenge being truthful. So we're going to focus on truthfulness as a character quality. You'll know which child, and sometimes all the kids are struggling with the same thing. Sometimes one child is really struggling with something and everybody else is just kind of floating down the river. And you can focus on the one thing, not make it about that child, but make it the focus of what your family is doing. Focusing on character qualities and never leaving a bad attitude going unchecked will help you raise exceptional children over time. Did you hear that part? Your 7-year-old needs grace. Your 10-year-old needs grace. Your 12, 13, 14-year-old needs extra measures of grace and love and hugs. Your teenagers need you more than your toddlers. Okay, lean into character training, but pair that with things like etiquette and manners so that you don't want yes ma'am type people. That's not the goal. The goal is that by the time they leave your house, they're kind, they're compassionate, they're diligent, responsible, trustworthy, those types of things. And so you practice these things over the course of a couple decades before you release them into the wild. And I can tell you that if you do these types of things, if you get your emotional roller coaster under control, if you get your routines under control and you target your homeschool goals and you focus on heart, character, and attitude and train in manners, are you ready? It gives your kids an unfair advantage. It shouldn't be that way. It used to be that raising up confident, diligent, disciplined, responsible, kind humans was par for the course. It's not anymore. Your kids, like mine, stick out like sore thumbs because they do simple things like open the door for somebody that has their hands full, or because somebody got to the door before them. Simple things make all the difference in the world. So the last pillar is the one that homeschoolers want to jump to first. And it's the last one because you need the other things in place. You're going to play with this one, but don't focus on it so much until you have the other things in place. And that's making learning fun. See, to raise exceptional children, you want them to be excited. You want them to be inspired. You want them to be creative and to lean into learning with enthusiasm and joy. And the way that you do that is with what I call it secret sauce, but it's where you take what they love and you are able to identify a project, a hands-on thing, or a written thing. It just depends on your child's brain, like how they learn and how they remember things. But you get to expose them to different ways of sharing information. It could be that they're doing PowerPoint presentations, they're hosting a feast about, that's in the theme of a people that you're learning about together, that you're creating a map of a specific region and you're highlighting the different animals of that place. It could be a family story or novel that you're writing together. So many ideas. So many ideas, so many things that you can do. Lap books, skits, create inventions, you can do science fair level projects, all kinds of stuff. And so when you add that level of fun, you're pushing away the textbook with the quizzes and the tests, and instead you're leaning into experiential type learning, and then making sure that your kids have the opportunity to create something for the purpose of sharing that information with others. Because exceptional children are so excited about what they're learning that they can't wait to share it with someone, even if it's just the cashier at the grocery store. You can't. I know there's shy public school kids that won't look at you if you ask them a question. And I know that there are the same private school kids, tutored kids, and homeschooled kids. But in my experience, homeschoolers that have been taught to thrive under the rule, under the guidance of parents that have their emotions under control, that have routines set, that have master homeschool goals, that focus on heart, character, and that kind of stuff, and manners, and are able to touch and do things with their hands or their minds or their creativity. I mean, remember, in the beginning, God created. The very first thing that the Lord tells us about himself and his character is that he's a creator. And if you and I and our children are made in the image of God, guess what that means? We are born to create. We're not born to just bubble in stuff. We're born to create. So if you raise up kids that are given the opportunity to create and then to share what they created with excitement with the world around them, whether it's their family, their brothers and sisters. We did end of year presentations because remember, one of our master homeschool goals is that our kids are excellent communicators. So one of the things that we had our children do a lot was stand in front of the television and present the things that they learned. Television, because we do watch TV in our home. And so we would make pizza, and then they would do projects, and they would share their projects with us after being coached for a couple weeks on how to do an excellent presentation. It's fantastic. Your kids are going to be so excited, they're not going to be able to contain themselves because they have things to share. But it won't be, look at the grade that I got. Look, I got an A. It won't be that. It'll be like this. Hey, you know what? Did you know? It'll be like that. There'll be excitement in their eyes, a rush of color to their face, and like this excitement in their voice. That's what you want. That's what I want, to raise exceptional children, exceptional young adults, exceptional. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful word that is, exceptional. It doesn't mean that they have to be phantasmagoric students, right? That have perfect penmanship and never get a math problem wrong and can write a 5-paragraph, 7-paragraph, 12-paragraph essay with MLA and works. That's not what it's about. What it's about is being excited to learn and then excited to share with the world around them while they are learning how to connect with different kinds of audiences, whether it's you, their brothers and sisters, the cashier at the grocery store, neighbors, grandma, it doesn't matter. So that is how you can raise exceptional children. Focus on their heart. Get your own emotions under control and make sure that you tap into things like this. Tap into Superhero Week. Carrie Beck is an incredible resource when it comes to things like raising up leaders. Fantastic. There are so many amazing homeschoolers and educators in this conference that I would highly encourage you to just look around. And then whoever you connect with the most, become a ninja. Find them on social media. Do they have YouTube channels? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Do they have a website? Do they have a newsletter? Do they have any kind of coaching programs, any kind of anything that you can sit at their feet and learn what it is that they know? You only need a couple mentors that are further ahead than you, right? We don't raise exceptional children by accident. So who are you looking for? You're looking for mentors that have raised exceptional children. And then when they tell you, this is how we do it, this is how we did it, it might not work for you, but this is what we did, right? They're not going to be arrogant. They're not going to be pushy. They're just going to share what they've learned. And then they're going to give you clear footprints in the snow to follow. And then I would highly recommend that you grab onto their coattails and go along for the ride, right? They're gonna, if they've raised exceptional children, they know what an incredible feat that is in this world. And they're not gonna want to shove information down you, but they're going to want to share with you the things that did work so that you can enjoy the same grown up benefits, right? The benefits of having all 5 of my sons still want to come home. All 5 of my sons still being close together. Oh, they still argue sometimes, but they're still close in their relationships, even though they're 18 to 31 now. So they're grown. 2 of them are even married, but we still have that strong connection. They also all love to learn. And so they're constantly encouraging each other or inspiring or challenging each other to raise the bar, right? We're not just surfing through life. We're actually paddling through this life. Exceptional children are constantly on the go. They're constantly learning. They're sharing. But at the core, they're kind, they're compassionate, they're diligent, they're disciplined, they're responsible, and all of those things. So thank you for being a part of this workshop. I am so excited to watch you raise and release your children into the wild as amazing, exceptional adults. It makes a huge difference. My name is Becky with A Better Way to Homeschool and Homeschooling Olympians. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a part of this workshop.